Yun ang rockstar
What an
talaga.
awesome
Oh my goodness.
rockstar. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most widely followed master of transformation rockstar, NLP coach, American Board of MLP, one of the 100 most influential Filipina women in the world awarded in 2016, and Philippines Leadership Award CMO Asia, the hunter of pure awesomeness, Cherry Africa.
Happy, fired up evening, Rosario and Joseph. And
Wow, boses na boses pa lang, rockstar na talaga. Tignan mo naman talaga.
Mag-a-apply ako sa'yo, Joseph, sa Friday. Okay. Good morning to all the people watching you in the Philippines and the rest of Asia. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for gracing us. And I think before we start our exciting discussion, I will call on your co-panel of expert in the field. This time, it is Faye Corcuera from the company called Kickfire Kitchen. Faye Corcuera is a former HR director of SGS, my former colleague, but then she moved on her career to Oracle and then Bank of the Philippine Islands, and her giving back role then as an executive director of BPI Foundation. She's now the managing partner and chief flamethrower of Kickfire Kitchen. She, together with Cherry, is one of the most awarded top 100 Filipino women in the world, awarded in 2016. In the flesh, ladies and gentlemen, Faye Corcuera.
I should have my spear.
You know.
Buhay po sa lahat. Thank you very much. As I said, magandang buhay, no? So it's good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hi.
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Ano, si Joseph is on fire with the three fiery ladies.
Talagang multi-talented ang guest natin ngayon. Flamethrower and a rock star.
Yeah. You see, one thing I want to ask, and we're so curious, me and Joseph has been curious, why the hell do they call themselves like that? You know, one thing common between the two of you is really your fire and your job title. And your job title, Cherry, for you first, why are you called Master Transformation Rockstar?
Ayan, para i-rockstar natin ang mundo ng corporate world and national consciousness, no? Our job titles provide us not just our job scopes, no, but a vision of how we wanted the future to be. Transformation for the bright future ahead. So we do that. And when we call ourselves master, it means that in NLP, we call it unconscious competence, no? In short, expert, no? Thought experts. So this is what we wanted to do, to actually, as part of our services, to offer transformation, you know, in a skillful way, because there is a process and there is a structure to transformation. Ayan.
Pero,
and we have a lot of energy.
Other people, are they also a rock star? What title do they hold too?
Definitely, everyone is a rock star. We call our participants rock stars, no? And our people, my team, we call ourselves Energyneers. We engineer energy. So yeah, so we are part of the accomplices in making sure that, you know, in the narrative of transformation, there is energy. Kasi kung walang energy, walang mag-fuel dito, it's gonna be short-lived. It's gonna be just cerebral.
It takes a lot of energy to transform, di ba? So.
Yes, correct. Agree yan, Joseph.
Parang palang bunny energizer. Alam mo yung energizer bunny?
Oo, yung parang ganon during our time. No? Hindi yan tumitigil forever, di ba? Parang si Faye Corcuera.
I remember when I was still in my younger years, I will take Lipovitan to give me energy for 24 hours working.
Correct. Ngayon, inner fire na lang kailangan natin. Kailangan natin yan.
That's true, you know. Such Lipovitan wouldn't work anymore. What's important is the inner fire to keep us going and reignited. Now, talking about fire. Now, let's go to Faye. Why are you called Chief Flamethrower? Ano ka ba? Sa carnival ba yun? O nagbabato ng...
Mahirap galitin si Faye, no? Babatuhin ka ng apoy nito. So, kailangan easy lang. Calm lang, calm.
No, actually, ganito yon, no? So I think you will all agree with me, no? The three of you, Rosario, Joseph, and Cherry, that as a people in general, we kind of act and behave in patterns. And these are patterns that are a result of our experiences. And what happens is we get wired in a certain way, and maybe too comfortable, doing things the way you normally do it or have been doing it forever. And so what we do, and that's why we have this analogy or this metaphor of the flamethrower, is basically to stimulate, to rock you, to get you off to disrupt actually and short circuit, because we tend to be in a pattern, or we could be stuck in something we're comfortable with the way we are. So precisely that, we come in and stimulate, we provoke, but we don't provoke for the sake of provoking. We provoke because we want to engender new ideas, okay, new ways of doing things, especially today, right? I mean, no one here wants a COVID to be a disruptor of patterns, right? What's happened is everybody is now pivoting. Okay, so I think you would prefer to have us come in and do our Chief Flamethrower things than a COVID or, something as awful as this. But so that's why we're called Chief Flamethrower, Chief Firecracker, Chief Fireball. Okay, so it all connotes actually that disruption, okay, from your pattern of thinking for the better.
Out of curiosity, Faye, if Cherry is the master of transformation rockstar, equivalent is the CEO, what is the title of your CEO? That's another thing, huh? So the CEO right now, because David is sort of the lead, David O'Hagan, he's also co-founder with Nini. They're both called, David is called Chief Firecracker, okay? But if you think about it, you can't really tell the difference, because at the end of the day, we're all collegial, and we basically come in with our own specific expertise and natural talents. And really, at the end of the day, you don't really need, this hierarchy of things. It's more of the collaborative, collective type of environment that we create. Wow, it's a collective of fire.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, talking about fire, because you two is really, the commonality is fire. So what is the new of you? What is the new of talents and leaders in this new normal? What's the definition of the new talents now? Would a strategy and approach and methodology be different during this time of pandemic? So maybe to succinctly put the question, I'll start with Cherry. Cherry, if I may quote your video says, the new breed of generative leaders under this new normal who is able to study the invisible and catalyze into the present so they can inspire transformation work among people and team. I have heard, those things it really ignited me when you said that in the video. But I have heard that you work a lot with leaders and particularly with salespeople. Why that target market to ignite? And what is your methodology?
Rosario, definitely in terms of pivoting, we've done a lot of movement in this area. Transformation, we believe in our company, seeing so many transformative work happen. Transformation ultimately is personal. It's personal, no? We have game-changing strategies to ensure there's transformation, but unless the individual changes, it's going to be short-lived. And so this is what we want to share energy with to the world, to make sure that the individual leader, the individual salesperson, the individual, whatever your function is in the company is fired up, no? And that you become part of the change process. Kasi pag sinasabi natin transformation, all of this word change, agility, medyo ninenervyos ang mga people in corporations, in companies eh. Kasi di ba, agility sounds very nice, but what agile means is that you've got to change and you've got to double your efforts and you've got to do it faster at the limited or even reduced resources. So they don't like that. It's exhausting, it's actually frustrating, it's, parang pinaganda lang yung word, no? So we call that change. Change is breaking the past, but transformation is seeing that there's a bright, hope for the future. And this, what we want to do is to actually catalyze this with the leaders. So we call it generative leaders, no? Leaders must be generating ideas and power and strategies from everyone in the team. So very important ang role ng leaders. We've also done a lot of work with salespeople, no? Lalo na ngayon. lalo na ngayon, Rosario and Joseph, because, di ba, pag pinag-usapan natin yung sales, a lot of people have written off this year. As you know, we're not gonna reach our targets anymore because of what has happened in the pandemic and all. Di ba? It is so hard to talk about success when everybody else is not succeeding. Di ba? So, and I think the best people to actually just fuel this challenge to succeed are the leaders and the salespeople. So, how do you actually utilize this crisis? It's such a terrible thing to waste in order for you to do breakthrough results. And breakthrough means that the impossible suddenly becomes possible. Kailan pa mangyayari ito, di ba? In an impossible year. So that's basically how we try to stoke the fire so that we come up with game-changing results only for this COVID year in 2020.
Interesting that you said that focusing on the salespeople, especially most needed in this time of pandemic, which is true because cash is king. And during the pandemic, the strip of cash has impaired a lot of the companies when there is no sale. So collection is very key. Now that the pandemic is more or less over 5 months already, the business needs to recover. The business needs to get back. And sales is the revenue, which is the top line. And a lot of the people in sales may have a depleted energy or passion to sell because they say it's hard to sell because nobody's gonna buy, nobody has the money. But what you're doing is let's reignite that fire in you to sell. Through reigniting you, you will reignite the consumer to buy and buy again.
Have that
Diba?
consumer trust, no?
Yeah.
And reigniting within, I get what Cherry's saying. You have to reignite from what's going on now with the COVID and everything. So you have to work within. Kumbaga, the weakness becomes your strength. Diba?
That's true. I think that another thing is a lot of people are feeling very down now. So how do you fight that emotions that pulls you down and ignite the passion of being positive and reinvent yourself? Right? So interesting take. And I like that you focus on the sales team because really sale is what is needed for the economy to boost, for an organization to recover, and for us to have the world heal once again. So if I will go with the fire of Faye, this one, I have watched your video, Faye. It's incredible because it's not being in the kitchen, putting fire in the kitchen necessarily, but you use a methodology of Lego. So what is that unique method that you use? It's that the Lego serious play. How could you even let executive play with Lego? I still have many Lego, not my toys, my son's toys.
What does what the acronym means basically?
Yeah, the Lego toy and what's it's got to do with the strategy and innovation, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's curiosity is really the whole thing that frames this the Lego serious play, you know. And you notice it's Lego serious play. So it's serious play, it's play with a purpose. So it's not just playing, but what we're doing is we're using the whole principle or the philosophy around how curiosity and play is important to move the needle in many respects, right? I mean, just imagine children, right? Children, I mean, do you guys have kids?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know how they ask this, why, mom? Why is the sky blue? Why is it, you know, whatever? So they keep asking the why. But when you become an adult, what happens is you kind of like get wired in a way that all that curiosity disappears. So what happens is what we do is we bring the play back into the corporate world, okay? And have you heard of the saying, thinking with your hands? Thinking with your hands.
I've heard of it in a couple of conventions that I went to. So yeah.
Okay, and in a normal meeting, in a strategy session, the tendency is you've got all your seniors there and your managers and leaders doing something on the board. Yeah, sure, it's visual, but it's a lot of times it's very flat. It's almost one-dimensional. But when you take the bricks, okay, and you build and play with your hands, it's an effective way to actually stimulate. And this is based on brain theory. It stimulates the different kinds of intelligences and imaginations, Okay, so it's intelligences and imaginations that stimulate all the segments of your brain. And this expands the space wherein definitions and solutions of problems are solved or discovered. So when ideas are stuck in your brain, using hands will actually help you think them out, no? And you go beyond the conscious, because when you're in a meeting and you're just drawing on the board, it's a lot of conscious effort going on.
Mm-hmm.
But playing with your hands and thinking with your hands actually unlocks, I think that's the right word, it unlocks the subconscious and maybe even the unconscious. Okay, and when that happens, then you have a newer perspective. I'm a believer of the Zen beginner's mind. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
wherein how when we're experts, this is the way we do it, so therefore we'll do this. But again, going back to the beginner's mind and the child's mind, you actually are able to unlock all the whys and all the other potential spaces, that is, or solutions that are actually available. So how do you get executives? It's really interesting, because I used to think, oh, they're not going to do this. They're going to feel like, oh, this is silly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's just unfortunate I wasn't able to include the sound bites of people saying, the eureka and the aha moments, and actually the discoveries that they go through when they are playing with those bricks. Okay. And so strategy, we do a lot of business strategy that way. We also use human-centered design, okay, which basically, again, follows the same methodology or same principle of uncovering and discovering, defining, and prototyping. You're like asking yourself, how might we? Okay, even that sentence, how might we, whatever, discover whatever, or how might we actually thrive in this environment? How might we? Okay, it allows you to actually say there are many possibilities. Okay,
Amazing.
that basically is what is generative. It's creation of new things. Yeah. So yeah.
Just to let you know, there's some. You just fired up our audience,
And we could play, and when you play, you have fun. When you have fun, you learn more. Your defenses are down.
No, true, because executive thinks they have that force field. When you're an executive, you have those force field that you can't break down. So during those kind of sessions, when Cherry comes in, Faye comes in, that's a session where they break that wall.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Cherry brings you firewalking. It's like, wow. Yeah.
That's very true. You break that wall, because sometimes people on the top, they feel that they cannot be themselves or be creative and just put it to their people to take the creativity. They forget that there's a child in them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of inner passion that should come out, and they will be able to find new ways to gain new strategy, new revenue, new sales, new ideas, and igniting. Just to let you know, I just want to share with you that some people are commenting on Facebook to you, the two of you particularly, saying, awesome, Faye and Cherry, inspirational, and you both do get people fired up with your concepts and principle. Amazing. Wow. So talking about you two firing up our audience and us. So what is the opportunity of you two fireball be together to become even more bombastic?
Uy, bombastic talaga, oh.
Bombastic talaga, to collaborate that fire and give more clarity in this age of disruption. What creative collaboration and bombastic event can you two organization do together?
First and foremost, si Faye, pinapa-firewalk ko yan because we do firewalking. Literally walking on a bed of coals. May utang pa sa akin yan. Naunahan
I want to see this.
So I'm inviting everybody, when this is all over, we can walk on fire together. It's one of the methodologies that we use to walk on a bed of fire. And exactly what you were saying, Joseph, vulnerability. To move not from a point of weakness to strength, but to move from a point of strength to weakness. And that's what we need leaders to do, because then they become more resonant. Diba? People will, be able to relate to them more, and then they know the heartbeat of their own teams, and that's how we build cultures again. I've been doing some works with Faye together. our fires have has generated collective consciousness together. So meron kayong mga ginagawa. I've been inviting Faye to join our sessions also so that we could grow in wisdom together. So definitely, Rosario, no, there's so many areas of coming together. 1 + 1 = infinity. We have to
Yun.
expand the field. We have to expand the field. We have no other choice.
Yeah. And I totally agree with, I come from a mindset of collective consciousness. I think I spoke about that a little earlier. Collective consciousness and collective action. Okay, so it's really, we don't see each other as competition at all. As a matter of fact, complementary. And even Janet, with her IIP, and Carol earlier, I do see that there is a lot of crossroads that we can actually meet in and expand this consciousness. And I think because the problems are just so tremendously wicked and big, you can't do it alone. And I think I think Cherry and I have spoken about this. It's more of a revolutionary movement of going towards that transformative, which is more, how do I make myself better as a person? How do I make my team better as a person? And how do I make my world better? And the world needs that to heal. We can't have these divisions and these walls and saying, you do your thing, I do my thing. It's really this, let's join hands.
Exactly.
And, work together. And we've got all these wonderful methodologies. And I think the key thing is the paradigms that we come from. The paradigms that Cherry and I come from, and Rosario and you, Joseph, all of us here are talking really about the same thing, about wanting that better world, okay? And I think if we do anything with COVID, if we don't do anything with COVID, we're really, I'm sorry, we are out of our heads. I think what we do, and I always talk about it, sometimes, people look at me strangely, I talk about it as finding the gift in every crisis. You talked about it, Rosario, as the opportunity. And you look at all the crises. What happened, the Ubers and what, all these things were basically born out of crisis and problems. And that's what we want to do. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I feel very, I'm on fire and I want to be boiling even more.
Okay, ha?
Mismo. So in this time of pandemic, as I told you earlier, there's so many people feeling down and we need to fire them up. What is your fiery and feisty message to reignite the hope in every people in what the new normal brings? Cherry?
I think, a lot of people are feeling stuck. No, that is actually a gut-brain problem. We have 3 brains, no? The head, the heart, and the gut. No, gut is responsible for movement. When we are feeling uncreative, we are feeling stuck on the head brain. In terms of paralysis, my message would be: this is a time to move. However movement you want, whether you want to pivot, you want a U-turn and go back to your values, and be acquainted once more to your vision. If you want to pivot, it is just the universe telling us that we are moving in the wrong direction and hence we must adjust our sails. The goal continues to remain the same. Intelligent people are flexible with their behaviors, but they have their goals fixed. So my message here is this is a time to be a little bit more delighted and, braver with playing with danger a little bit, experiment, do failures fast so that we could actually generate the rapid prototypes, because nobody knows what the best model is. Be a little bit anxious about staying at your comfort zones. Hence we grow, no? Growth is a function of being anxious with our comfort zone and being delighted with playing with danger a little bit. So my message is really just to be brave, but ultimately everything begins with caring. Our message for teams has always been to care for their collective. Now, if people feel cared for, they are more courageous to actually put their ideas out there. And there are so many ideas, generative ideas, that's going to make us win this war. We are just beginning. We're just beginning.
Yep.
Amazing. I think, what I've heard there is fail fast, get up
Fail
quick.
fast.
Yeah, fail fast. Fail fast. It's like cry fast, cry, whatever
And
you
get
want to
over it.
cry over this
Yes.
COVID. Fine, and then get up and laugh. And
Failure is
show
an
up.
option, and then we move on. We move on.
Exactly.
Yep.
To be happy is a personal decision. Faye, what
Yeah,
about you? What's your feisty message out there?
Yeah, the message to me of COVID is really because it's basically brought us to our knees. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is that? What is that analogy to you when you're brought to your knees? You go back to something bigger than yourself. Okay. So you go back to, and you call it whatever you want to call it. I call it God. Okay. You go back, and Cherry talks about it as the care. And that's really what's at the center is the care for humans, care for other people, for other things, So I'm saying, okay, get on your knees, okay, look up, yeah, find your purpose again, or find the humanity again. And the humanity is really goodness. It's goodness. I think what's happened is, throughout the world, all these wicked things are happening. And we forget, or maybe, we're too comfortable with the wonderful things that we already have. And that was all snatched away from us in an instant with COVID, right? We can't even go out. I've gone out 3 times in the 4 or 5 months now? See, I've even lost track of time. But it's given me an opportunity to actually help people go back into themselves and look at what is the purpose of all of this, and then reimagine, okay? Reimagine the better part. And then I talk a lot about, the prototyping. You come up with your what if scenario. You come up with prototypes. You test it out. Okay, it could be products, services, or whatever. Companies test it out, or if it's individuals, it's what are these things? People are learning how to suddenly grow their own food, and I love it. Okay, because it's also solving food security, which is one of the biggest issues, right? Which we've totally forgotten about. And it talks about sustainability, right? It talks about your being sustainable. And not only that, there is something wonderful about putting your hands in the soil. Okay, that is grounding. So maybe over the years, that's why COVID sort of like hit us in our knees to get us bent down, okay, or on our knees, is that maybe we've just been, all over the place doing things which were not meaningful. Okay, so that my message is really get on your knees, okay, look up, yeah, and rekindle the purpose, rekindle that humanity in you, which is the good, and reimagine the good. And I'm saying that we should not go, let's say COVID is done, we go back to the traffic, we go, oh my gosh, that is what we should not let happen, Go back to the old ways of doing things, which is probably the reason why COVID happened.
Amazing. Yeah. Joseph, what do you think of that? My God.
All I have to say is amen. Amen to that.
Because
that's the truth. You speak the truth. I honestly, you do speak the truth about what COVID is all about. And these two ladies are definitely on fire. A rock star, a flamethrower. My God, what else can we ask for in this show? Right?
That's very true, Joseph. It makes us reflect on a lot of things in life. As what we got from Cherry is you better fail fast so that then you can get yourself back on track.
Yeah.
And get back on your senses. And with Faye, you go down on kneel there, because what happens when you fail fast is you gotta go back to your center to know what makes you happy and think and what is really important in your life.
Yes.
A lot of things have been removed from you.
That is
all your stuff were put on fire, and you do not have an insurance.
Yeah, no,
where do you get that
it's
fire?
100% true. You have to fail. You have to get hurt before you realize how to do things right. It's part of life.
Correct. So. How to do things right, and what is really more important deep within you that brings out the fire of moving on and be sustainable. Wow, amazing. So you've heard it, guys. The rock star and the Chief Flamethrower together is bombastic. And if you want to get in touch with them, in order to ignite fire with your whole organization or you as an individual? Cherry and Faye, where can they contact you? Cherry?
We're easily followable. We are everywhere in social media. There you go. The name of the
Ayun.
company is World Stage International, and you can follow us in Facebook, in all of the social media platforms, in Instagram, in YouTube. We're just everywhere. We are presenting ourselves as part of the solutions in order to help companies, no, and individuals and organizations get back on their feet and succeed again. And this is what we were built to be. You were just talking about Rosario, diba? At the end of the day, when everything's taken away from you, it is the resilience of the human spirit that matters. So we still have that. Nobody's gonna take that away from us. So we rekindle that, we remember that, and then we forge forward and win. We're all gonna win here.
Amazing. You know, impressed ako sa'yo, Cherry. One, your lighting is beautiful. You look so even prettier than in person, and even whatever. You look like Miss Universe. And then the technology behind you. Wow, nawawa ko talaga riyan, ha?
I want to give thanks to the people I work with. Is that I have a very strong young team, and this actually, they are just doing all of this so that we can sit here and be beautiful and just convey our message.
You have really gone to the digital way. You've really gone through the digital way of doing business. Amazing. Para kang Z generation.
Yun na.
Rosario, diba? Sabi kasi nila, kapag online na, nawawala na yung heart. So I was telling my team, no, that is a limiting belief. What we need to do is to make sure that people are still continue to be alive because we continue to talk to human beings. Diba? So if kailangan yung mga trainings natin, kailangan full of fire that they start to feel each other. Ayan. So yan tawag
Ayan yung team niyo. Ayan yung team niyo sa likuran, no? Congratulations, guys.
Yes, yeah.
Give me a virtual hug.
Oh, I accept that. And I miss you. We should see each other again when you come back to Manila.
I think I wanna guess the rock star in Kantambayan for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Very well, but I can MC with you, I guess.
Amazing. Now with Faye, Kick Fire Kitchen. I love everything that you said with the Lego serious play, igniting the fire and putting God in the center.
Yes.
How can we get in touch with you?
Okay. We're also on social media, so just Google us or look for us in Facebook. And our website is actually down right now because we're rehashing it to be more to be better. And but just look for us on Facebook, and of course I do have my number somewhere. So
wow. Amazing. This episode has been on fire from the beginning to end. But I need a glass of wine now in order to fire up my passion even more.
To fire it, we're gonna fire up more. We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make everything burn today. So
Yeah.
with the rock star and the flamethrower. My God, our next guest.
It's Bagyo.
Bagyo naman, bagyuhin tayo.
Mismo. Hurricane Bagyo, nako.
Yep. It's
All the
gonna
elements.
bring a storm, di ba? May flame na tayo, may rock star. Dagdagan mo
Mismo.
pa ng bagyo. Oh my God, this is a natural disaster in a good way.
No, for me, it is romantic. Anyways, so thank you very much, Faye and Cherry. It's been a wonderful panel of discussions. But please don't go away. We're going to call you back later again just to give your final parting words with our guests and wave goodbye to them as we go on to our day in the whole world. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Cherry. And see you later.
thank you. Maraming salamat
Thank you,
po.
Rosario.
Maraming
Faye,
salamat.
nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you. Love you guys.
Love you too. Miguel, so thank you very much. So we're going to be right back after this short break with Joseph Bayan.